like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up, folks? Welcome back. It's a brand new episode of The Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram. I'm Trey Frazier, and that's the homie Maestro Styles over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on, fam? It's we had to take a break last week because of some things, but
back. Man. God bless. God bless. My fault. It was me. Just full transparency. It was me on my side, but we good. Just know we good, and we back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And for everybody out there that went out there to the polls, please do so. Hope you went out there and voted. I am certainly tired of the text messages from different campaigns, so I will be glad when this day is over, so I can stop getting all these text messages from all these campaigns and all that stuff. It's very annoying. Very annoying.
Especially since I had already voted. I didn't really start getting text messages until after I mailed in my ballot. So
really? Man, I've been getting texts for like 5 or 6 months now, man.
Oh yeah, nah.
It's been annoying, bro.
It just further lets you know that they have our data and they know when we're interested and when we're not interested.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. We already in the system, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Already in the system. But we got a great show, man, tonight. And we got some local talent coming through this evening. Candi Waller is a beat reporter for the Washington Commanders and also has her own media company and also does some stuff for Bowie TV Sports and has got her own website, cwallse.com, which stands for Seawall Sports and Entertainment. So she's going to come through, man. Washington Commanders got a big matchup coming on Sunday against your Pittsburgh Steelers. And are you going to the game, bro?
No, I'm not going.
What the hell happened?
I talked to you offline about it, but no, I'm not going.
Wow, that's disappointing, man.
I was disappointed too when I found out. So
that's
but nonetheless, and you know what, man? I made a promise that I wasn't going to get the shit talking, and I don't know if Candi is a fan or just a reporter or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that depends on how I'm at. But
we're gonna find out. We definitely gonna find out when she comes through.
I just want to be clear that if she's a fan, I'm gonna have to rep the official way, and because like I said, I was asked to chill. I was asked to not start nothing until about Friday, and I was trying to respect that. But see now, people coming up to me, talking to me crazy, like, "Hey, yeah,
in the workplace,
hey, you in the way." One coworker said to me, "No offense, but y'all just in the way this week." Look, don't get it twisted. Commanders is balling,
yeah,
but don't act like Pittsburgh ain't Pittsburgh all of a sudden because y'all got a quarterback. And y'all got a quarterback and a new cornerback. Don't get it don't start talking crazy.
Yeah. We got to talk about that.
Don't start talking crazy because we the type of team that humble you and let you know that you got a couple more steps to go. So everybody calm down. Let's have a nice professional PG week. You know what I'm saying?
Literally and figuratively.
Leave me the hell alone. Leave me the hell alone because I'm trying to be peaceful. I respect and I'm glad that DC got a good football team, and I want y'all to have that. But don't go talking crazy to me like my team ain't been in the conversation since I've been a fan. So hey, so take it easy, guys. Hey, Commanders fans, take it easy.
I love seeing the discourse around town. Shout out to D Love Sports. So she's been going to all the Wizards games, and she mentioned that she's going to be there quite often throughout the season. I guess the game against the Warriors the other night, Jaden Daniels and Bobby Wagner showed up at the game and pulled up, and D's sitting, I guess she's sitting courtside, or she's sitting, a few rows from courtside. And, she had to holler at, Jaden Daniels and Bobby Wagner from a distance, talking about go Steelers. And Bobby Wagner was like, yo, y'all ain't going to win. He was like, yo, y'all are not winning on Sunday. So I love the back and forth, man.
Oh, I didn't see that video. That's not the video that pissed me off. So I didn't pay no mind.
I love the back and forth between, the fans and stuff. It's nice to see DC and the surrounding areas get a respectable football team at 7-2, and can't wait for Candi to come on and talk a little more about it. She's a PG County native, so
okay, there's
a very, very great chance that she is a fan in addition to covering the team.
Well,
so
I'm just saying
we'll find out, man. We'll find out.
So sticking to D's social media feed. Yeah. I saw something that bothered me. This morning. So I guess last night the Warriors and the Wizards played the other night.
Yeah.
And there's a video. There's two videos, but one that bothered me. Where Jordan Poole is closing out on Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And he Steph Curry makes the shot, so they're going back down, and Draymond Green is like pointing at him, like, hey, look, Draymond, I needed to be clear. He a Wizard now, so I don't give a fuck about you dropping him, putting him to sleep. You're not gonna play with Jordan Poole while he a Washington Wizard, bruh. We ain't standing for it.
So you missed it. You missed it because Jordan Poole actually started the discourse.
So what?
Jordan Poole drained a three over Draymond and started, pointing at him first.
So what?
Hey, you want to dish it, you gotta take it. So I'm cool.
You make the three.
Hey, I'm cool with it, man.
Nah, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
And honestly, for me, it ain't been settled. I don't know if Jordan Poole ever in his right mind will think about, hey, I should go, get my fade back.
Yeah, because we'll jump that motherfucker. Because look, I told D on Twitter, I'll take the punch. But if she swings, she got to drop him.
Because let me tell you right now, look, watching that last night, I'm like, yo, that he got to be thinking, I'm gonna get this nigga one day. I'm gonna just catch him.
Nah, I don't think so.
Obviously he's not.
In all seriousness,
it's a wish list. As a sports fan. It's kind of and I'm not condoning violence. Don't get it wrong, folks. I'm not trying to condone violence or anything like that. But just the fan in me and seeing those two, on the court at the same time competing, I got to be thinking as a fan, like, dude, like at some point, man, maybe you just feeling froggy one day, just like, yo, I gotta go see this nigga. I don't know.
I don't think that's gonna ever happen. And in all seriousness, shout out to Joel Poole, shout out to Draymond Green in all seriousness. But at the same time, nah, bruh. He a Wizard right now. Leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Leave him alone.
And while we're talking about, I guess in the conversation of fisticuffs, Joel Embiid shoved a Sixers beat reporter
Marcus
over
Spears.
the weekend. No, not Marcus Spears. Marcus Hayes.
I'm sorry. I told myself to not say Marcus Spears, and I still fucking said Marcus Spears. Marcus Hayes.
Hey,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Marcus
yeah.
Spears gonna get you for that one.
Right. I can't. I wrote it down. Like I literally wrote in my notes, "Don't say Marcus Spears," and I said that shit anyway. Yeah, Marcus Hayes.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
So the backstory, right?
Jeff,
so Marcus Hayes, Sixers beat reporter, I think for the Inquirer, he writes a piece on Joel Embiid and the season, and he mentions family members. I think a brother and
a deceased
uncle
brother,
a deceased brother, right. And I'm not a journalist, but I think the way I read it, it was out of line.
Did you? I was going to ask you, did you read it? Because I didn't read it, but I took. I'm sorry, like Brandon is the Brandon. I took Jamel Hill's word for it, where she tweeted. She said, I read it. They didn't have to put his name in it. Put those. He didn't have to put those people's names in it. You know what I'm saying? And so if Jamel Hill said it, I took her word for it and didn't read the article. So,
context is everything,
sure.
Right? So, he was trying to say, like, you got to have a better season. Like the whole him not playing on back-to-backs and, that kind of a thing. Like if you're a beat reporter or any journalist for that matter, you got to be able to make your point without interjecting family members into the conversation. So I don't know what he was trying to get out of that. Like trying to, throw the sympathy card while at the same time trying to, criticize him for the basketball stuff.
Well, I'm sorry. If you read it, you said you read it?
I read it. So the way it started, the way the piece in the article started was he just talked about how Joel mentioned that he wanted to play for his deceased brother and his family and stuff like that. He put, like, he's saying, like, all the motivation from him comes from thinking about his deceased brother and his family and stuff.
Okay.
So he started framing it off that way, and then he went into the criticism of basketball. He went to the basketball criticisms. And the way I read it and the way I interpreted it, it was, bruh, you could have left the family out of your piece and just kept it criticism of his play on the court and however you feel about him, not playing back-to-backs this season. I thought it crossed the line a little bit. Like you didn't have to.
Well, I guess I'm trying to get to what about it and I'm not saying he did or didn't cross the line. Like I said, I didn't read it. But what about it in your mind specifically? Here's what I'm gathering. But here's what I'm gathering from what you said.
Yeah.
Did the article suggest that he was did it suggest that you're playing for your family, you're playing for your deceased family members, whoop whoop whoop, and and you're not having a good, you haven't been playing good, like you're not paying a proper homage to your deceased family members because of how you're going about it on the court? Is that what he was trying to imply, Marcus Hayes?
Yeah, I think he was trying to imply something like that. But again, like if you and look, OJ Spivey, and he's a good dude. We had him on, and I'm looking to get him on again before the NFL season ends. He co-signs. Like, dude, you don't mention a man's family when you're trying to criticize a player for his on the court play,
right?
And
because it could be taken that way.
Right. Let me read this to you real quick. So this is the first paragraph of the piece. It's not long, I promise. Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son Arthur as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as the 76ers. So now that's the first paragraph. Now here's the second paragraph to the piece. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now in his 11th season, he consistently has been in poor condition. The poor conditioning apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. Embiid won't play in Wednesday's opener or the next two games.
Yeah. He would have got shoved. I'd have took them 3 games.
You can't imply the man's family in that,
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like Yeah, he deserved that shove. Like
He deserved the shove for sure.
He lucky he didn't get hands put on him. Like he, you know how fucking mature you gotta be to have a man. And look, Marcus Hayes has a job, sure, all those things. But you know how mature you gotta be to sit there and listen to another grown ass man tell you that you are not properly. And again, if Marcus Hayes didn't mean it that way, cool. But if I'm Joel Embiid reading that, it sounds like you're saying, I'm not paying a proper homage to my deceased brother, and I'm not representing my child well, teaching my child how to be a quote unquote champion. Because I don't train the way you feel like I should train, or I'm not on the court the way you feel like I should be on the court. And look, man, sure, again, maybe you didn't mean it that way, but I can't imagine how he didn't look back on this situation and see the error in that approach to writing. And he lucky he didn't get hands and feet put on him, let alone just get a shove.
And if I'm the Philadelphia Inquirer, I gotta think about
it's not even a thought. It's not even a thought. Yeah,
sure,
not even a thought.
Sure. I'm saying it that way because I haven't heard anything about what they're going to do to him.
Right.
Now, as for Joel Embiid, it was just announced earlier today that he's being suspended for 3 games for shoving the reporter. And I understand. I understand you can't put your hands on nobody. But at the same time, if you're a reporter, you have a code. You don't insert family members into the criticism.
But the problem is that if Joel Embiid would have let him slide, he would have thought that it was okay to write that about other people when that was in a similar situation. Somebody has to check somebody else. What they say, unchecked behavior goes unchanged is something that one of my homegirls like to say. Like, you gotta check it. Look, and could he had just said what he had to say and walked away? Sure, but reports would suggest that Marcus Hayes was yelling back at him, like in defense of what.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay,
I certainly read that they were having a shouting match, and that kind of that kind of alluded to.
That could lead to some things. That could lead to the physical for sure.
So, and again, I don't just what I read. So if the nigga would have just accepted Joel Embiid's criticism, even if it was harsh, and like, damn, I am talking about this man's deceased brother and his child. Like, if he just took it like that and just like, all right, I hear what you're saying, even though you're saying it in a disrespectful manner, or however Joel Embiid said it. Like, obviously, I wasn't there, but like, just like, oh, all right, okay, and let him get his shit off. Then you ain't had to get, and again, you ain't have to get shoved. And this might have just been a productive conversation where I know how to go about this next time. I don't know Marcus Hayes' history. I don't know his writing history, if he was ever wrote such an egregious 2 paragraphs in an intro article. But certainly this one has been polarizing and again could have got you hurt. Because I don't know how big Marcus Hayes is, but I know he ain't in the NBA, so I don't gather that he's 6'11", 280 pounds. So, like, bruh, you should just hold that. I mean, it's one thing to stand on your writing, because I can understand that angle, but nah, bruh, don't talk.
See, that's the thing for me. I don't understand the angle. Like, I don't understand how.
Well, if you don't think you're wrong, you don't think you're wrong. So I can understand if you don't think you're wrong standing on business.
From his perspective, sure.
Yeah.
But as somebody just reading that, and look, I'm not a Sixers fan, but come on, bro. Like, lay off of the family unless you got something great to say that maybe the story is about the family.
If you're reporting something about something that is public news about somebody's family, that's something different.
Different. Yes.
But to say he plays for his family, and you know how he could play better for his family if he played back-to-backs. Like, nigga, what? Who you like, nigga, who you talking to? Like, who?
And I'll say this, and I'll say this too. I follow a lot of Philly folks on the timeline, and what they've said about this Marcus Hayes dude is that they felt it was deserved, the shove was deserved, and that there is a history of him being disliked throughout locker rooms
Okay.
and
Okay. Say
other
less.
Media personalities
Say
and
less.
things like that. So
All right.
there is some dislike in the history when it comes to this dude. So
All right, well, yeah, well then he lucky he didn't get hands and feet put on him, and nah, bruh, like I didn't like the way you if that is emphatically how that article reads, the way you just read it to me,
yeah,
Marcus Hayes is lucky he didn't get hands and feet put on him,
and this is the center. This is the center of the basketball team. Like,
well,
imagine if this was Shaq. Imagine if this was Shaq.
I don't give a damn if he was
He
5'11", if he was 5'11", or 5'3" Muggsy Bogues.
Nah, I got you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
you lucky you didn't get hands and feet put on you.
You talking about, and he's the star of the team, but the dude is probably, he weighs probably the most of everybody on the team, probably, if I had to guess. So you don't say stuff like that.
I ain't gonna get to talking crazy about Marcus Hayes because I don't know who Marcus Hayes is. I don't know how big or small he is, or so I ain't gonna sit here and start.
I'll just say he was wrong for that. I'll just say
he was out of pocket, and to add to he was wrong, he is lucky he didn't get hands and feet put on him.
Yeah.
That needs to be said because sometimes people get the writing this stuff and saying this kind of stuff and forget, like, no, these are, I get it, they got a job and they don't want to lose money or get suspended for games, and that's the consequences and burdens they have to weigh being NBA stars. But it don't take, all you got to do is trigger a human being for a human being to snap. So he come again, in my mind, I could see Joel Embiid saying, "Ooh, I don't like that article. I'm going to address it." By speaking to him, and then he called himself allegedly like barking back, like he had some type of defense for it, and Joel Embiid could just slap all fire out of him.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part. See, now I'm changing my tune a little bit. Joel Embiid should have done more than just a shove.
Yeah, but it's mature of him, because imagine him really hitting a member of the media. Like 3 games, they probably would have set him down a strong 10-15 for actually putting, and if he would have really put hands on him,
I'm thinking more.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But like if he would have just like an open hand slap, that's 25 games, bro. Like you crazy. He open hand slap Marcus Hayes. That's
5 fingers to the face.
That is a 25 game suspension, bro, and a hefty fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Joel Embiid. And look, I haven't read said article, but I could imagine that he probably had some basketball points that I may or may not agree with. But you can't talk about that, man, family, and then relate it to basketball on the court, bro. Like I just got finished watching Stephen A's rebuttal to Kevin Durant calling him a clown or whatever, and it's like Stephen A was saying, he was like, bro, like you can feel how you feel about whatever I said, but once you get into the personal shit, you crossing the line. You just crossing the line. Now Kevin Durant didn't cross the line that Marcus Hayes crossed. Yeah, Kevin Durant just called Stephen A. Smith a clown, which he's done. I
was gonna say he's done that before,
right? Exactly.
I think that's why. I think that's why I didn't entertain that all that much, because I saw what Durant had said, and then I guess I just decided to not hear Stephen A's response, because I think I already know exactly what he was going to say, and I felt like he's addressed this before in the past. So I don't know. I think for me, it's just it's a regurgitated story. It's just a more, I think to me, it's just KD just further expressing, like I don't like Stephen A. And that's cool, right? Like that's cool to be like, I don't like Stephen A. and all this stuff, but nothing really productive or new for me has come out of it.
Yeah, so. I agree 100%. So getting into, I guess, a little bit more of the drama, First of all, before we get into the drama, shout out to Vince Carter, whose name in Jersey was being hung into the rafters the other day. And much deserved. Shout out to Vince Carter, GOAT, legend, Hall of Famer, all those things.
First Raptors jersey to be retired.
First Raptors jersey. We know, and we got a pretty good guess what number 2 and number 3 are going to be. Yep. Let's talk about number 3.
Yep.
So this happened at the Kings Raptors game, where DeMar DeRozan is a active player for the Sacramento Kings. Yep. It would appear that this is the first time DeMar DeRozan has seen Drake since DeMar DeRozan had appeared in Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us" video.
Yep.
All in support of
the concert.
No, the actual video, but the concert too.
Oh,
but he's in the actual video.
Okay, right.
He's in an actual video, and they say, now I wasn't there. All I see is clips. They say that whoever that dude was with Drake, I don't know if that was Chubbs or not, but that dude that was with Drake was allegedly mean mugging DeMar DeRozan the entire game. I guess at some point where I believe the Raptors won the game, so like near the end of the game or something like that, or did the Kings win?
I thought the Kings won.
Maybe,
go ahead.
Maybe. Yeah. What I saw, what I saw was Drake say, "Fuck out of here, pussy," and people are saying that he was saying that to DeMar DeRozan, and and DeMar DeRozan just heard it and didn't do nothing. I don't know. That sounds crazy to me. Went on to I guess at some point Toronto media did an interview with Drake, and they asked him about DeMar DeRozan's number being hung up in the rafters. And he said that if that number was hung up, that I would personally climb up and take it down.
Yeah.
Clearly, he wouldn't be saying that because DeMar DeRozan didn't deserve, as a Toronto Raptor, didn't deserve that number to be hung. Clearly, it's because of however he's feeling about his allegiance to Kendrick Lamar in the city that he's from.
Yep.
Because I guess this would be the second time where Drake thought he had some friends on the West Coast, and they kind of sided with Kendrick. I guess my question to you is, well, I don't even know if it's a question because I'm sure you agree. Kyle Lowry is number 2 to get his number hung up, and DeMar DeRozan is number 3.
Yep.
Do you think? How do you process? I've been asking this question a lot in the past week. How do you process Drake's angle? Because sure, I get it. You feel the way, but this is basketball. You ain't gonna pretend like DeMar DeRozan wasn't DeMar DeRozan in Toronto.
Yeah. Look, because I think the first thing for me I thought about was, DeMar DeRozan wasn't the only ball player on that stage. Russell Westbrook was on there also. Now, DeRozan, there's Toronto ties and then there's LA ties. So
right. Let's be clear. This is let's be clear about this.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan has said in numerous occasions that he is friends with Drake. Like they've done commercials for ESPN together, and they are friends. So this was clearly a thing where let's be clear, Kendrick mentioning DeMar DeRozan in the song, this is clearly a thing where DeMar DeRozan, I don't know if DeMar DeRozan looks at it that deep as Drake does, but he clearly chose his hometown and his, where he's from over his relationship with Drake and his career in Toronto. And I'm talking about community wise. Not talking basketball. He's clearly made a decision of who he's rocking with. So I guess with that added context, it's sure, I get Drake feeling a way, But I guess my question is how do you like Drake is an important Drake. I do think Drake has the influence to say, in my opinion, I could be reaching. I think he has the influence in Canada to say, or Toronto to say, hey, I don't want DeMar DeRozan's jersey up. Don't put it up.
And for it to actually not get put up?
Yes.
Because I believe he has the liberty to say that and to say what he feels.
Sure.
But come on, we're talking basketball here. DeMar DeRozan's number is getting put up in the rafters someday.
But we do know basketball does have a political side to it. A thing where we know that a higher look. I'm sure there is a rabid Toronto Raptors fan base in Toronto. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But to sit here and act like Drake ain't bringing money to that organization, to sit here and act like Drake ain't, in cahoots with the business operations of Toronto. And I'm not saying he's necessarily making business decisions, but I think if you piss him off, he could take some money away from that stadium that they would miss.
I mean, that's a good angle to approach it with. I see what you're saying.
It's like when Spike Lee was having his issues with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like they worked to rectify it because Spike Lee is Spike Lee.
Yep.
To the Knicks.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if that's Spike Lee. Now
Spike Lee's never said to the Knicks organization, "Hey, don't put."
Just because he's never had a reason to.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So while I get the comparable, it's still a difference in that we're talking about Drake possibly not wanting his number to be up in the rafters. From a basketball standpoint, and I'll say this, and then we got to get to the guests.
Sure.
For me, that Raptors team is going to be around far, far longer than Drake will be. And that team has been there long before Drake became a thing. So from a basketball perspective, you put that man's number in the rafters.
And I agree with you, by the way. Let's be clear, I agree.
And if you're Drake and you put that out there to say, hey, I don't want his number up, that's more of a short-term petty thing. I think a good comparable would be Jimmy Johnson being kept out of the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor by Jerry Jones. That might be a better comparable to that situation than the Knicks situation, where, Jerry finally, comes to his senses, got over it, and said, okay, let me put this man in there because it'll be good for the community. It'll be good for the franchise and for the fans. If it plays out that way in Toronto, then it'll be short term. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay.
All right. Let's get to the local talent that we got coming on here. Candi Waller, beat reporter for the Washington Commanders, PG County native. Check her out on Twitter at CWallSC. That stands for CWall Sports and Entertainment. She's also got the website CWallSE.com. Check out her bio and all that good stuff. And she's got also some great connections with the community. Bowie TV Sports is also a place where she contributes as well. Candi, thank you for coming on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. How was your evening?
Everything is all right. I mean, between my role at Bowie TV, I'm actually the president. It's been a little crazy. Because it's election day. So folks, of course, are doing election day coverage. And then, of course, it's NFL trade deadline day. So, it still is, but that was over at 4. So,
Yep.
A lot going on.
A lot. Well, let's jump right into the trade deadline because the Commanders made a move this afternoon. Marshawn Lattimore. The Commanders gave up, I believe, 3 picks, a third, a fifth, and I believe a sixth. To get Marshawn Lattimore, a position that the Commanders were struggling with early on in the season, and that is
exactly what they needed to shore up more than any other position on the field right now. That's what they needed to shore up, and they got it done.
They got it done. So, Candi, your thoughts on that trade and how that's going to work moving forward for them.
I mean, I thought it was exactly what you all just said. It was the right thing to do. Going back to the Commanders and Jets joint practice, I remember posting, hey, there's an issue in the secondary. An issue in the secondary, everybody. There is an issue in the secondary. And that particular practice where Commanders media, where we could see the Commanders offense and the Jets defense very well. But there were fans there at that practice. And so over time, you could just hear the fans cheering and all this. I said, okay, let me turn my attention to what the Commanders defense is doing against the Jets offense. And all day, I think there may have been posts about, this player, that player having a pick here and there, but it was not good. And so now here we are. And while the secondary has definitely played better, names consistently mentioned in terms of the safeties, we know Quan Martin, Jeremy Chin has had some really good, good games. Sunday's game was probably his best one so far of the season. We know from a corner perspective, hearing a lot about Mikey Sanders still, but that's really it.
Yeah.
Right? So I was concerned going into the season, what is this offensive line going to do? What are the cornerbacks going to do? One of the things that kind of hides the challenges with the cornerbacks is getting so much pressure up front defensively, right? So the offensive line has been more than impressive. I'm like, whoa, was not expecting that.
Yeah.
At all.
At all. A big question mark coming in.
And that has just been a pleasant surprise, I think, for everyone involved, because I was about ready to say, just start Marcus Mariota. Can't put Jaden back there. But they have been excellent. The corners, that is a position of need. And so it was known, right? Like, we can watch it, we can see it and say, okay, there's still, yes, they're 7-2. But if I do a segment on my show, you all may have seen me even say this, use your clues. But if you're using your clues and you've done any background research on Adam Peters, he is never going to stop trying to get better. That's just the point of the matter. That is just how he and the staffs that he is on, that's how they roll. And it obviously, this Commanders team, everyone is talking long-term, big picture. I think for this staff, the big picture is now.
The window's open.
It's right now, and they are ahead of schedule.
Yeah, right? For sure. I agree.
Performance, they are ahead. 7-2, they are ahead.
Well, not just 7-2, because it's one thing to win the games, but y'all are scoring points out the ass. So for y'all to be scoring them type of points,
the Commanders offensively, right? You saw some. You saw some strong defensive games.
Yeah.
Right. But where there has been a challenge has been in the secondary. We just but we all knew that going in.
Yeah.
So if there was an opportunity to get better, of course, Adam Peters, we're going to use 2 of those 3 picks were extra picks that they got from trades they made this season.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what did you lose? Because that's not what you started out with to begin with. Right.
Right.
One of them came through the Jahan Dotson trade. The other one came through the John Ridgeway trade, which I think a lot of people forgot about. So use it.
I like his approach. I like Adam's approach because, we can't be fooled by what we've seen against the 2 games against the Giants. That offense is not a very great offense in New York. So, it's hard to tell. It makes it look like the Commanders had a good game, but he acknowledges that, hey, we're going to be playing the Eagles twice coming up on the schedule here. We got Pittsburgh coming up. We got all these, games in the division, the Cowboys. We got these games coming up that, these teams are going to start putting up points. So I like that he went out there to, get aggressive and shore up a position that was needed since training camp, like you said.
Yep. I mean, and you have the opportunity to show improve.
Yeah.
Right. They had the opportunity to show improve. Let's see what we have midway through the season. Let's see what we got trade deadline. Let's really assess where we are as a team. So I think they've made it clear they want to make a run.
Yeah.
They have full expectations to be playing well into January. That's what the move just said.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the teams that were looking at Marshawn Lattimore, oh, okay, Adam, I see what y'all did there. You're really making a move. You're like, hey, we think this team is good enough. This is where we got to make a play, but it's not for next year.
Yeah.
It is not for next year. It is for right now. And that's what you see winning teams do. I've been using the Kansas City Chiefs for about all of my examples so far in the last month, right? Them getting, the moves that they've made while undefeated, still winning football games, while a Patrick Mahomes isn't having his best season statistically. I'm like, this is the type of things that winning teams do. They still make moves. They don't say, oh, this is enough or we good to go. No. And I wanted to see, because I even wanted to know, right? We're all learning at the same time, which is what they're about to do. Do they think they're good enough? Because they're at 7-2. No one should be complaining. Hey, 7-2, they're ahead of schedule. They are above the bar that I think most of us expected for this time of year. Somebody like myself being really transparent, I had that say, hey, if they win 7 games this season, that is very good. That is very good.
Me too.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Candy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to see a playoff team.
He did.
I
had to see a playoff team.
Like, oh no, like, no way. But hey, they're proving folks like yourself right, proving folks like I said wrong. Like, and they're showing up. But this is also a staff that understands how much these things turn up in December.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in November. It turns up in December. In January, we've seen teams turn into completely different football teams.
Yep.
For sure.
And we'd be like, who are they?
Yeah.
So
Adam's got a lot of experience with the 49ers. The 49ers have been to multiple NFC championship games. They've been to a couple of Super Bowl appearances in the past 5-6 years. So you got that experience with the general manager. With the coach and Dan Quinn, you got a Super Bowl appearance with the Falcons, even though they, we know what happened there. They blew the Super Bowl, but he's proven that he could take a team, the distance. So you got that. The ownership change, I thought was, monumental. I thought the moves that they made in getting Austin Eckler or Bobby Wagner, not the Albert Hainsworths, of the world when they was, spending big money, several years ago. They made some solid moves. And I think the combination of all that for me is like, they really are changing the culture there. They're really trying to do things different than what they did in previous years.
Yeah, they're true talent evaluators, because going back to Adam Peters for a moment, not only did he spend those years at the 49ers, he spent years with the Denver Broncos, he spent years with the Patriots. He understands what talent evaluation and what the scouting process really looks like. And to you all's point, it's not about the big flashy names and the big top dollar. It's not, right? It's about the talent that fits the culture of football that you want to play.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Tell me about how surprised you are, because look, we know Dan Quinn was a good defensive coordinator, but I think what a lot of people, at least in my circles, are surprised about is Cliff Kingsbury and how he's doing this thing on offense. Talk to me about how how you feel about his approach, and how surprised were you about that? Because I could tell you, I said at the top of the year, I said this is what I said about this offense. I said Jayden Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year because he's going to be running for his life, and in the midst of that, he's going to make plays. But it's not just that. He's really there. It's the play calls have been good. This offensive line, I don't really believe they're as talented as they're playing. I think they're being coached well.
Absolutely. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, I will say this. I had a feeling he would be a better offensive coordinator than a head coach, and that's probably not even fair for me to say. What I was looking forward to was the creativity and the innovation. Just how much were you going to open up the playbook based on the unique skill sets of your team? So that was one of the questions I asked Cliff Kingsbury in his introductory press conference. Like, basically, what are some of your what are some of your principles in terms of how you utilize your players? And it's about, he told me it's about focusing on their strengths, right? Too many times and covering this team, and I'm sure you know, and we're watching it, is they're trying to make players be somebody that they're not. They're trying to make them do things that is unnatural to them. It's going against their athletic IQ. That's not what's happening here. I've seen Cliff Kingsbury do some of the same plays, but if it wasn't working with a certain personnel structure, he just changed the personnel. It's the same play. He just changed the people that were doing it. And it doesn't mean that those players aren't good, because obviously this offense is way ahead of schedule and how they're right. Yeah. So it's not that it didn't. They're bad. It's just that one was better for Austin. It was, you know, that one is a better play for Luke. It's a better one for Diami. It's a better one for Terry. You know, whichever they make it work. It's not that the play calling is bad. It's making sure that strength fits the personnel. And that's some of the challenges that we've always seen along the way. Another thing that I want to point out about the coaching staff, and we're talking about Cliff Kingsbury, he gets ideas from players. He gets ideas from the other quarterback coaches. He's leveraging all of the knowledge. It's not somebody who's standing there like, I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm Mr. Know-it-all, so everybody do as I say. It's not that kind of vibe at all. Everybody is able to see themselves as a part of the action, a part of the movie, if you will. And I think it's just working. People can look at. And they're even using a lot of college players, a lot of things that happen in the collegiate space. And it's working. But they have to realize at the NFL level, we're at that place where the generations are starting to shift. So
I agree.
They're starting to shift. So you can't see some of the traditional plays and play calling because that's just simply not the personnel that's on the field anymore, simply because of their age.
Yeah, there's definitely a more, I mean, and I'm sure everybody who watches football notices the focus on utilizing talent as opposed to making talent learn scheme. That's so right. So that's definitely the thing. Another thing on the offense that I'm happy for Commanders fans, and God bless y'all, but I'm upset that Pittsburgh didn't get Noah Brown and that you guys ended up getting Noah Brown. I really wanted Noah Brown in the offseason. And y'all messed around and got him, man. And aside from the whole Hail Mary catch thing, I think he's also been an asset on that offense for sure. Like Noah Brown, maybe maybe as a third weapon. I don't know how you would rate on a receiver core. I mean, obviously Terry's number 1, and maybe Ertz is 2, and Noah is 3, or I don't know who you would consider to be the more productive receiver. But from the games that I've watched, I have definitely seen Noah Brown be pivotal in a lot of possession downs.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And it's so interesting because when the team signed Noah Brown, remember at that time, there was so much conversation about Brandon Ayuk.
Right.
It was so much conversation.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was, again, Adam Peters is a different kind of cat when it comes to talent evaluation and making decisions, because flying under that radar, it didn't mean Brandon Ayuk was the end of the world. He signed Noah Brown.
Yeah.
And he fits the culture perfectly.
Yeah.
And again, going back to someone who had a great game on Sunday, he had a really good game on Sunday. And it's interesting because now the Hail Mary game against Chicago Bears, Noah had some drops in that game.
He sure did.
He drops in that game. And for that last play, the Hail Mary was actually set up for him. It was set up. He was supposed to catch the touchdown. So it went as planned with some help of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. They broke the Bears. I'll tell you right now, they broke the Bears. I think
I think that cornerback Stevenson got sat down that next week.
He did. He did. He had a headset on.
Yeah.
He was dressed up, but he had the headset on.
Yep, he got demoted for that. I mean, I can see why. I'm surprised he didn't get cut, but he's a great player.
He's a good player. Yeah, he's definitely a good player.
You can't necessarily cut him, but you do have to prove a point performance-wise, because that was a tough deal.
That was rough.
Because it wasn't necessarily, because it wasn't even, look, if all the talking trash on the sidelines didn't happen and he still would have tipped that ball to Noah Brown, then it's looked at differently. But he had a key penalty late in that game as well, and then to be over there mouthing off the fans and just assuming that nobody catches a Hail Mary. Certainly had to be sat down for some lack of focus. Now I got a real question.
Yeah.
And how you answer this is going to result in how I respond for the rest of this interview. Are you a Commanders fan?
I grew up a Commanders fan.
Okay.
I grew up a Commanders fan.
I
got some really great advice when I started in this industry about 7, almost 8 years ago now. Gosh, I can't even believe it's been that long. And it said, in order to do your job effectively, you have to stop being a fan.
Okay.
And I said, what does that mean? They said, I meant what I said. One of my big brothers in the business, Lake Lewis, you all may follow him as well. That is the advice he gave me. He said, it's a no paraphernalia. It's to do your job. And I will tell you, that is probably one of the best pieces of advice that I have gotten, because I will tell you this. If I was a fan, you all would not be talking to me right now.
The paraphernalia part. The part about the paraphernalia, you can have some paraphernalia in your house. You just can't rock it.
You can't
in the media booth, obviously.
And I've thrown away much of it. Now there's certain things that I have that are custom made that I won't get rid of. You know what I mean? Because that's just like I got some custom made like Sean Taylor. I'm not getting rid of that. Or something like that. But any especially with the previous name on it, a lot of that is gone. Now the team may give stuff, and of course in that regard, we not like gifts. It's nothing like extravagant.
Yeah.
They give us stuff. Of course our lanyards, our commanders lanyards, our press credentials, our media credentials, have commander lanyards and stuff like that. But I will tell you all, if I was still in fan mode, I'd have been do this. Because it's been a lot of bad sport. You can't sit through that, as a fan. But it has actually helped me get a lot. I always felt like I was really good, but I think that advice helped me to watch the game differently and just enjoy the talent that I'm watching. Right? You don't have that kind of bias of everybody else sorry except for your team, and it's like that's crazy.
Well, Maestro, we'll never be in that media booth.
Never.
We will never be in that booth.
Never a day, because we have a lot of people who cover teams, and I always leave with, man, I could respect your professionalism, salute the sacrifices it takes to do your job. Thank God for podcasts. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I want to say, sir, God, maybe one day the athlete will hear me say it. You played like some trash that day, and I want to say it, and I want to say it the way I feel, and I don't want to. And if I see you face to face, then we'll deal with it how we need to deal with it. But I want to be honest. I don't want to be politically correct. That's the way to say it. Because I don't think you quote unquote hold punches about your criticism. I think you would say if it's in your wheelhouse to say somebody didn't play well, you'll say somebody didn't play well. I just enjoy I enjoy the option to be a little more colorful with my criticism. So salute to you in professionalism, for sure, for sure.
So and let's continue that conversation.
I was just going.
I wanted to, because I wanted to let her share more about herself, amongst our, fans and our, people that are watching. How did you? When did the love of sports come for you in life?
It's always been there, right? And this is a conversation I have with my parents all the time. It actually came up in conversation with my dad and I randomly today. We were just talking about something. And, a lot of people don't believe it, but I was just a child who loved sports. I loved watching sports. I love the competitive nature. I was always so impressed by athletes and coaches and just their sacrifice and their dedication to do things that is almost, you feel like are humanly impossible. It's like, oh my gosh, you play. And, yes, my dad and my brother, of course, they watch sports, But one thing my dad would always now still tells people is that he knew my love of sports was different than his because I watched drafts. I watched a lot of college sports. I watched professional sports. I watched the combine, though, and I watched the NFL draft, and I watched the NBA draft. And he was like, he was never in. I mean, he watched college sports, yes, but he was never into it. He was gonna sit and watch the draft. Like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
And so that was just me. But I never really did much with it. It was always subtle. So when I went to college, I went to Hampton University for undergrad, and I worked for the athletic department. Right. And so I worked for the football team, and I would be in the office checking stats, kind of doing all that thing, because that still was kind of like the underlying thing that I really loved to do. But then when it was time to graduate, it was like, all right, well, what am I going to do? I was a psychology major. Someone suggested doing like organizational behavior, human resource development. So I ended up going to GW, getting my master's in human resource development. And I was a consultant. I did consulting for a long time. Worked for IBM, Deloitte, in the MITRE Corporation. And through that, I just learned a lot about communications, training, facilitation, stakeholder engagement, really understanding how to effectively communicate with your audience. But that whole time, I was always just going to games as a fan. I always went. Like, you couldn't stop me. It didn't matter if anybody was going with me or not. I'm going to the game. That's what I was doing. And I realized I didn't really enjoy going to the game as a fan.
Wow.
Because I wanted a space where I could talk about what I was seeing. And I just needed a space. So fast forward to Super Bowl 51. I was in Houston. I have a brother that lives in Houston. I said, I'm going, like, at the top of the season. I said, you know what? I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm going. And of course, everybody's going too until it's time to go.
Right.
And ain't nobody going. So I said, I'm gonna still go. But it was a dope experience for me because I went as a fan, right? And because it was just me, because my brother was working during the day, so he couldn't go to like a lot of the fan experience, Super Bowl events. Because Super Bowl has a ton of events.
I know.
If you have never been, people always think about Super Bowl in terms of the Super Bowl game. They have the coolest events all week long. So it's quite affordable. So if you ever want to go, if you haven't, definitely do it because it's super dope. It's fun.
On God this year. It's in New Orleans.
No, for real. Yep, it's in New Orleans. And during the week, they have very cool events, like for real. And so I did First Take live. I did Undisputed live. I did Good Morning Football live. And by that Friday morning, when I was on the set of Good Morning Football, part of the live audience, I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow, that's what's up.
Nice.
What's up? That's
nice. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so kind of like the rest is history, right? Just got a business plan, and fast forward to all of this. Now I'm the president of a local TV station where I grew up. I grew up in Bowie, Maryland.
That's what's
so
up.
A lot of it is all full circle of, and now I'm the president of a TV station when my house, where I grew up, my family thought was down the street.
Nice. Nice.
Now all of this part, never would have guessed it in a million years. Let me be
what a legacy to have.
Like, I would have this part I didn't plan, but hey, God's plan is always better than ours. So
that's what
I just rolled.
Amen.
Thanks to that.
Amen.
Thank you for allowing me to share.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm glad you got that off. I was going to say I have been to a few of those Super Bowl events when it was in Atlanta when Rams played the Patriots. And I thought that, and my experience is I have a nephew, my two nephews. Now, shout out to Isaiah and Tanner. We went there, and they are actually at some point going to start a podcast if they don't stop fighting each other. But we saw D'Angelo Hall, and they are very passionate about their sports takes, like their uncle. And I thought that, I'm sure D'Angelo Hall heard my nephew calling him a mid cornerback. And it's just like, oh man, like we really close enough where D'Angelo Hall, and say what you want, quality cornerback throughout his career, all those things. And I'm like, man, it hit me like, man, D'Angelo Hall, and I think I saw Michael Irvin. Like I don't remember everybody, so I just remember everybody's there. And so it was definitely an experience, and it was definitely an experience. I would concur that if you can get to those events, that is also a part of the situation for sure. So, you answered the question in a acceptable way. So I'm not going to tie my Pittsburgh Steelers bandana up. I'm not going to act ridiculous.
You could. I'm gonna just go and tell. I'm gonna Look, I was on the show last night. Look what they did, y'all. Look,
okay, well, I would accept that. I would accept that. So everybody who follows Candi, my name is Maestro Styles at Maestro Styles.
It still sucks that you can't go to the game.
It does, and I don't need to bring it back.
I'm going to say, are you going to the game?
I thought I was, and I am no longer, and I'm sad about it. And I did my therapy on it, and I prayed to God about it. But I am at Maestro Styles. Hold on. And you can send all your hate mail, and no matter how many times cute girls tell me to wait till Friday to start all the problems. It's up for everybody that need to know. It's up.
Friday.
It is up. It is up. Anybody that wants smoke, add Maestro Styles everywhere.
I'm gonna clip this. And
hurry up and clip it. And hurry up. Is everywhere.
Don't y'all lose. Don't lose either.
Yeah. If I lose,
tag me. Clip it. Yeah. Tag me. So I can be like, see?
If we lose, which I don't look, we ain't speaking negative energy right now. Let's talk to Candi. I want your analysis on how you see this game going. You don't necessarily have to give me scores. What are some key points you think are pivotal for this game on both sides?
Yeah, and you know what? The Steelers, I don't know. The Steelers made some moves today. I mean, I know we're here to talk about the Commanders, but the Steelers made some moves today. And I think that they're another team, right, that is a little under the radar. I think you all know my colleague, Karita Park, she covers the Ravens, so I know that's like the Steelers' primary rival. But the Steelers are making a statement. I was very impressed with what they were able to do with Justin Fields at quarterback. Everybody wants to talk about Russell Wilson being so washed up. And I'm like, what? Right? Like, does everybody need to apologize to him? Because, I mean, he's still Russell Wilson.
Yeah. And I remember saying, and not to cut you off, but I remember saying when we got him, or when there was a rumor that we might get him, I said, look, y'all, and obviously we got Wilson first before we got Fields. I said, look, he threw 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions with Denver last year. If he does that with Pittsburgh will be okay.
Yeah, they'll be just fine.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. Like I wasn't concerned about really who played. I wasn't concerned about really who played, as long as we got some sense of competent quarterback play. And in a small sample size, I think it's easy to say we've gotten more competency from Russell Wilson, but that's not to say Justin Fields was bad. It's just that they did different things that worked better for the team. A lot of like what you were saying, what's going on with the Commanders as far as fit.
Right. Exactly right. And I think that one thing that I've been saying leading up to this game is the Commanders have a very key asset in being able to read Russell Wilson very well and understand what the Pittsburgh offense is going to do. And that is Bobby Wagner. So when you have a player who is as smart and cerebral as a Bobby Wagner, who is very, very, very familiar with Russell Wilson.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the key to Sunday. And it's not so much about play. It's just how.
Yeah.
ways in how Russell Wilson is very effective and what makes him so good and what makes him so effective. And I'm going to give you an example. It's probably too much information since I know you're a Steelers fan. But this is me being objective. I remember when we were in Phoenix and we were doing a media scrum, and I can't remember who asked Bobby, but they asked him about Kyler Murray. And everything he said to do in order to beat Kyler Murray, the Commanders defense did that Sunday. I was sitting in the press box like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like
seen him twice a year. Yeah.
I was like, literally everything Bobby said last week to do to beat Kyler is literally almost down the checklist of what they're doing. It was insane to me. It was just like, wow, like he just like went down the list, and that's literally what they're doing. So with that being said, I think that this will be a very interesting game defensively, right? On both sides.
Yeah.
Because with the Commanders' offensive line and what the Steelers have in defense, and then there's still some pieces there at linebacker and corner as well. With the Steelers, I've always been a Minka Fitzpatrick because Minka's not hurt, right?
No, he's fine. He's fine,
right? Because one year he got hurt real bad. So yeah, but I've always been a Minka Fitzpatrick fan. Always been a Patrick Queen fan. So I was actually kind of hurt. I had to clutch my pearls when he left the Ravens and went to the Steelers. I was like, oh man.
Oh my God.
So right.
But honestly, I'm a Ravens fan.
Okay.
I knew he
knew it was going to happen.
You can't pay two middle linebackers that kind of money. So I knew that he was going. I just didn't expect to see him in Pittsburgh.
That was the thing. Like it was going to Pittsburgh. You knew he wasn't going to stay, but it was going to the Steelers. I was like, ouch. That's good. But see, you see a TJ Watt, Brandon Coleman, the rookie left tackle, is having a tremendous season. You know, offensive lineman, it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
People don't talk about the O-line like that. They talk about the defensive line like that, but they don't talk about the O-line like that.
100%. I agree.
And so this will be interesting. Going back to this past week, right? The Giants had 5 sacks on Jaden in week 2. They had none. And the Giants defense is pretty daggone good. Reflected. But the Giants are a very good defense.
Yeah.
But for them not to give up any pressures or sacks on Jaden was very impressive. And that is a stat that's going to fly very low under the radar, I think, leading up into this a very important game.
Yeah.
So I still think it's a litmus test. Now the staff and the coaches, they'll never say that out loud because they're like, hey, every game, you know, they're getting paid just like we are. We gotta win and we gotta do what we do. But I think that the Steelers did a lot today to get better and make a run themselves at the playoffs. They got their eyes on a prize of some sort, you know, as well. So this, I think, is going to be a very good game. I'm actually really can't wait to see the stadium because the Commanders fan base has really been showing up.
Yeah.
They got all of the momentum in the world.
Yeah.
And in the past, that, you know, a home game. It's like away teams come to then FedEx for
particularly the Eagles fans, particularly when they play Philly.
I mean, the Steelers too. Steelers, we go all in.
Sure. So I'm really anxious to see who wins the fan battle, like who shows up. But it's going to be a good game. But I think Bobby Wagner is your real asset in terms of game plan, knowing what to do.
I ain't mad at that analysis. I'm not mad at that analysis. Now. I can't just look. This is what I'll say positively and objectively about the Washington Commanders because the hate is starting to boil in me. And let's be clear, I'm from here. I love the Commanders because so many. Like I talked to my father. I'll give you a short story. I was talking to my father the other day, and I said, Dad, you know, I haven't really talked to you since Jayden Daniels has been, you know, with the Commanders. You know, how are you feeling? And you know. He's been obviously a lifelong Commanders/Redskins fan. And he was like, he said, son, I stopped watching football about 2 years ago. And I said, and I was like, okay. I was like, but he did admit to saying, like, I see Jaden what he's doing. I might come back around, but y'all not gonna fool me with winning a couple of games, and I have years and years and years of heartbreak.
A couple of games, they 7-2.
Yeah, but I mean, when you put that in conjunction with decades,
yes. I get it.
like
I get it. The stench is gone, but the stench it's
the
gone.
stench is gone for most fans. My father is a little bit he's a little more jaded. And it's probably where I get it from.
I got you.
But
I
yeah,
got you.
but I'll say this, and I've said this early, and I know it won't happen because they don't allow this to happen in the NFL. But we had around week 5, we had early MVP talks, and I said then, Jaden Daniels look like he could win MVP right now. Right now, I feel like the only team in the NFC that even got a smoke for them right now in real life is Detroit in the NFC. I don't feel like Philly. Like, I know Philly's starting to kick up a little bit, but I don't feel like
I gotta put Philly in that list, man.
I'm just saying right now, I think it's Detroit, Commanders. I put Philly at number 3 for sure, but but I think the Commanders right now are the better team right now. And like I said, give time for AJ Brown to get back all the way right, and Devontae to get all the way right. Like I'm sure it's going to be interesting going down the stretch. But right now, it's Detroit and it's the Commanders, and like, again, I put Philly there, but it's a distant third. Like, it's those two teams in the NFC for me. So there's that. With that being said, I don't care how quick Marshawn Lattimore learns the playbook. He ain't going. I don't think that moon ball to George Pickens. I don't think nobody on that secondary can stop that right this second. Najee Harris, 3 straight 100-yard games. It seems like the offensive line is starting to get it together for him, and I feel like he's noticing it and is picking up in his approach, his attitude approach to the game. He's running violently right now, and you can see it whether he gets 20 yards or 2 yards. With that being said, I'm not going to sit here and act like this ain't like you said, a litmus test for the Commanders. I think it's a litmus test for the Steelers just as much as it is for the Commanders. I mean, I really do think that like you guys have gotten the 2 games you guys have lost to the Bucks in week 1 and the Ravens in whatever week that was.
Yep.
Like, week 1 is excusable. You didn't really know what was going on, footing, and then you lost to a good team in Baltimore. You lost to, Big Brother and Lamar Jackson in some respects.
And let me say this, just to add to that. I as a fan, obviously, I watched that whole game, and I expected it to be a great game. And, obviously the Ravens won. That's what I wanted. But Jaden Daniels,
he held it down
really well.
He held it down.
He played really well. And Candy, I wanted to ask you about Brian Robinson, because I know he's been out for several weeks now. Mm-hmm. And I think he's critical to what the Commanders are going to be doing down the stretch here. But in their losses, like Maestro alluded to, they've held their own. Like, they lost to us by a touchdown. I walked away impressed by, Jaden Daniels and that crew. So,
and let me just say, Joe Witt Jr., defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr., you are talking about Cliff Kingsbury, defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. is flying under the radar as well, because he was very upset after that loss to the Ravens and was very clear and convinced that the Commanders' offense had done enough to win that football game.
They did.
Defense did not do enough to win that football game. And he named 4 specific plays where the defense that contributed to that loss. He was not happy.
Yeah.
One thing I can appreciate, and this goes across the board with all of the coaches, where there's an issue, that next week that is cleaned up. It is cleaned up. I'll use the other example, right? Against the Bears, all those red zone issues and penalties, couldn't score a touchdown until the Hail Mary, right?
Yeah.
This week, they didn't have all those red zone penalties.
Yeah.
They scored. They scored like what on the second offense, a touchdown. They weren't, really trying to,
Yeah.
So they show immediate accountability and getting things cleaned up and getting it right. The 2 times that this team has lost, they are furious. Like they're like they are very upset. Like oddly upset. Like it's odd to me.
I love that mindset.
And but it's odd to me because I'm just not used to seeing it, right? Like especially against the 2 teams that we're talking about, right? But the corrective action is like in real life, like and so it was a good game, like you said, and to the point of Jaden Daniels, even in the Ravens game, they still did enough to not lose by 2 scores. It was like they were still like, you okay, all right, maybe you're gonna beat us, mate, okay, but you're not gonna get us down 2 scores. Like it was still like they cared about making smart decisions to not lose so bad. They still cared about what it looked like. We're going to play this to the end, so we're going to only go down a score on you. And there was some, going back to the defense, I definitely caught maybe 2 of the 4 specific plays that Joe Witt Jr. talked about, right? But the other 2, I was like, but hey, he's the defensive coordinator. He knows what that play is supposed to look like. He knows what it's supposed to be. So, of course, he knows more than I do, right? But it was just the energy he came with. He was really upset. He was very upset. And I even had to laugh. I was like, Joe Witt Jr. act like the opponent not supposed to score any points. But that's what I think he I think he just feels that way. He wants shutouts. He wants donuts. Zero. So, and most importantly, they all want wins. Each really does matter. And that's just a whole different culture and mindset that I've never seen with this team, for sure.
Yeah. I hear you. Candi, first of all, we appreciate you coming on. We before we let you go, do you want to plug anything?
Well, yeah, you all can follow me on X at Seawall SE. Definitely subscribe to Bowie TV on YouTube. That is where all of our Commanders and Ravens content is. You can follow us at Bowie TV Sports on X and Instagram as well. And I'm always around. You can Google me. You can follow me on anything. I'm always around. So you can't not find me in my sports.
I know that's right. That's right.
I'm a big fan of shout out to Wole and Ray from Urban Sports Scene. Candi does excellent work on there whenever she's on there. So anytime I get that notification pop up, it's like, oh, okay, I got to see what Candy's talking about. Or when Karita's on, I definitely got to see what Karita's talking about because she's covering my favorite team. So shout out to the homies for for doing the work that they do.
That's what's up.
Yeah, hey, super dope folks.
That's what's up. Hey, we appreciate you, and we will see you in these internet streets. And we are definitely going to tag you when Trey clip that up.
Yes, please do, so I can be like, see how they did me last night. I got ambushed.
All right, you have a good one.
All right,
now.
see y'all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. See ya. That's some great stuff right there. Candi Waller, Seawall Sports and Entertainment. Check out the website, seawallse.com. You could also follow her on Twitter at seawallse. Dope stuff. She, I watch her from time to time, and she gives some pretty good insight on the Commanders and stuff.
That's a good Bobby Wagner point. Bobby Wagner.
Yeah,
point. Bobby Wagner point.
It made me think for a minute. It's like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that point. But yeah, definitely something to consider. Hey, quick shout out to the IG live chat. Our homies in this chat. The homie Vince. He said,
"What up, my boy?"
He says,
hold on, nigga. Hold on now. Yeah, I get back on my bullshit. Fuck you, nigga. Yeah, what we talking? Hold on, boy.
My man was like, I feel sorry for you. It's an L. Vince is a big time Commanders fan.
Hold on. Now I'm earned because that's my man's in real life. Now I'm earned that. Yeah. Don't forget, boy. I know you from high school. We remember when you was a Raiders fan for real, boy.
I was just about to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I was about to throw that out there.
Then he switched to the Jaguars. Like, we ain't forget, boy. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
yes,
we ain't forget, boy. Talking about like the jersey colors. We ain't forget, boy.
My man talking about he liked him some Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah. We ain't forget, boy.
I forgot about the Jags point.
Yeah,
but yeah, I remember
forget,
when
boy. What you talking about? You ain't no
said he was a Raider
You don't
fan.
even like the Commanders for real. You fell to the peer pressure, boy. What you talking about? Hey. Stop playing with me.
And the only excuse he could use is his hometown team. Well,
yeah, because you ain't really believe that though. Yeah. keep it funky. If it stink, then let it stink, boy. You feel me?
Oh,
hey, whole time, yeah. But hold on, like, all right, but to the Steelers, man. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna let you get your Ravens because y'all made some important pickups too. But this ain't the time for that, and we still got to talk about Derek Carr and the Saints. But hold on,
what they bum asses? Yeah.
We gotta talk, but we do gotta talk about them. So the Steelers signed Mike Williams from the Jets,
and I weeks ago I had asked you the question: do you want Mike Williams? You said no,
right? And I
said I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets went ahead and was like, "Yo, we got to trade this guy because of the Devontae Adams trade."
Sure. And we picked him up for $300,000. So look, that's a cheap price. Low risk, high reward. If it work out, cool.
But is that the rest of his contract? That's the rest of his.
It's the rest of his contract. Yeah, I already looked
That's
it
right,
up.
because he signed for 1 year. That's
he signed for 1 year, and then most of
it,
the Jets paid most of it and like bonuses or something like that. I went and looked it up because I saw that we was also looking to get Darius Slayton, and in my mind, and I just got finished watching Darius Slayton for 2 weeks in a row. I wanted Darius Slayton, so. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't get Darius Slayton, we got Mike Williams, and and then it's funny as hell because I just got finished watching Mike Tomlin's presser for weekly presser, and he was talking about getting guys at value. So it's like, okay, Mike Williams is high, like as far as the business, we'll see how it produces on the field, but as far as the business, paying $300,000 for a red zone target, a deep, a possible deep threat if he can get all the way right.
A lot of value there. Obviously.
Yeah, you're right. There's value there. So and for again $300,000 for that, but I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm way more excited about getting Preston Smith. I'm way more excited about Preston Smith, not because I get it. He's old, but he is a good pass rusher, going back to the 3-4 scheme because they run in 4-3 in Green Bay now, and it's showing. His production is showing. Like he's not like 2.5 sacks, on like 11 pressures in 9 games. Like he's not being utilized right. But I know he's a good run support guy. I know he's a good. He can pass rush and he can support the run. So it's good depth behind Highsmith and Watt. I'm way more excited for that, getting him in as a rotational piece, along with Nick Herbig about to get healthy. Like I'm way more excited about Preston Smith than I am about Mike Williams, but he's here. I hope he I hope he fills that number 2 wide receiver slot like he feel like he can, and that's why I stand with it.
Yeah, he fulfilled the need. Like I think going back a couple of weeks when we talked about it at first, I thought Mike Williams would fulfill a need for you guys. I think we had the Van Jefferson versus Mike Williams conversation, and I thought I'll take Mike Williams over Van Jefferson because I've seen Mike Williams with the Chargers be a legitimate number 2 wide receiver. So I think that fills a need, whereas the Preston Smith one, and it was a good pickup by Pittsburgh. I didn't necessarily see that it fulfilled the need, but it definitely bolstered pass rush that you guys already have already.
Well, again, I don't think it's I do think pass rush is important, but I think him being a good run supporter is better. Like, because yes, we need him. We necessarily need. I don't think need is he's going to be useful in pass rush situations.
Yeah,
but
right.
that same situation where it should be a obvious passing situation. If they decide to run it, we ain't worried about third and 12 being converted. We're less worried about a 3rd and 12 being converted on a run play if Preston Smith is on the field. Yeah. I feel confident that he's going to be able to, diagnose plays better. So he'll be able to see, I know I'm in here for a passing situation, but this looks like this might be a run situation. Let me, he's a veteran. Like Nick Herbig is on his way, but we know that he struggles in run support sometimes. So I'm glad that we got Preston Smith. I'm way more concerned with stopping the run right now as far as Pittsburgh than really anything else on our team right this second. Tyrone Tracy, who did the same thing to the Commanders last week, by the way, but Tyrone Tracy from the Giants gashed us 150 yards a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't, and yeah, we won, and that's peace because the Giants are the Giants. But you think for a second that I wasn't watching this TV, losing my mind as this Bama ran for 150 yards?
Yeah.
That's a I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, he kept it. He and that defensive line kept the Giants in that game like I thought they would. I didn't see the Tracy thing happening, but I thought defensively they would keep the Giants in that game. That ended up being a touchdown game. A touchdown game. Yeah.
So I was right there. I mean, that's still kind of where I had it, but I was certainly expecting a more dominant performance by the Steelers than what we really got.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So your Ravens, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm excited about Deontay Johnson. It certainly wasn't a need per se, but it certainly is going to help with the depth situation. I know a few weeks ago, Zay Flowers kind of went off the field on an ankle, injury somewhat, but they kind of worked through that, and he's back on the field and all that. I love that for us. And Deontay Johnson, he's one of the better route runners in the league. So,
and it's as much. And look, I feel like right now, if we're rating who won the trade between Dante Jackson and Deontay Johnson, right now was clear to Pittsburgh in that trade. But I feel like Deontay Johnson going to the Ravens, I know that at least for that first time we have to see Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson is going to be on one. So, he's going to be on one. I know it. I said
they're going to feed him. They're going to feed him for sure.
And he's going to be motivated. And I know one thing: we better be ready. I know we better be ready because I the second I saw that I said shit, and everybody at work was like, it was what's up? I said no, football shit, and I said I did not like seeing him going to Baltimore at all. And Baltimore knew what they were doing. And look, and I get it. Look, I get it. Baltimore or really any team should want the services of a Deontay Johnson because on his best day he's a number one, but he's a number two. He's a solid number two.
Yeah,
sure. Right now you put him on any team as a number two, and I think he's probably a top 5 number 2 receiver in the league.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Zay Flowers is having a great season right now. As our number 1 receiver right now. This offense is it's the best offense in the league. And there's some bias to that. I know Detroit's offense is legit. I know the Commanders' offense is right up there, but for my money, the Ravens offense right now is, it's cooking right now. And, to add Deontay Johnson to that, and we're getting Keaton Mitchell back Thursday night. So, we'll see how he's going to look. You remember him from last year where he could hit the corner, real quick on you. So we definitely looking forward to that. We got Trey White, in a trade from the Rams today. Also,
Yeah.
I kind of looked at that as sort of a depth piece, also, because it certainly wasn't a need. I know the secondary is struggling throughout the year. We're still like 32nd in pass defense, but our real issues is pass rush. And I was praying to God that somehow Zadarius Smith would fall to us, but that's a division rival thing. The Browns wasn't just gonna hand us Zadarius Smith without some kind of haul. So that wasn't gonna work out. But I like
going to Detroit too, by the way.
Yeah. Detroit did a good thing there by trying to replace that Aiden Hutchinson production. So good by them. But the Trey White trade for me, it's just adding another cornerback. And honestly, I feel like I should see much less of him as the season goes by. I know he was hurt. He's coming off the Achilles. The Rams had, DNP'd him for several games, and it looked like he and his agent was talking and said, "Hey, yo, you gotta get me up out of here, man. Like, I need to go to," and not that the Rams aren't contenders, because I think the Rams still have a shot, especially in the division they're in. But I think he just wanted, a different scenery. You know what I mean? Like, I think he just wanted a different place where he don't have to necessarily be the guy. Yeah. And in Baltimore, he don't have to be the guy. So, all in all, I'm cool with both guys, but I really, really wanted that pass rusher, man, because our pass rush, I feel like, and we're top 5 in sacks, and that's cool and all that, but context is everything.
Yeah,
I need them sacks on third down, fourth down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need all that to be first down, second down. I need it when the defense got to get off the field. So,
right.
So look, moving forward, man. I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to Thursday night. Cincinnati had a great game against the Raiders on Sunday, and they put up a 40 piece also. Thursday night gonna be a shootout.
But it's the Raiders. I'm sorry.
Sure.
The Raiders.
It's the Raiders. But the Bengals offense has been cooking, and they didn't have T. Higgins on Sunday, and it looks like they're gonna get him. They're gonna get him back for Thursday. It looks like so.
And what's the Bengals? 5? They got 4 or 5 losses.
They have 5 losses, so they're 4-5.
Okay,
they're 4-5, and they're not out of it.
Not at all.
They're not out of it. I don't think they're winning the North. Let's be clear about that. But wild card, yeah, they could get a wild card in this conference with the way things have been looking. And the game against Denver on Sunday for the Ravens. I love that we was able to look. I know how you feel about Denver.
I'll say this. This. Denver's defense is legit.
Yes,
their offense
that's what I was
going
to say.
Yeah, their offense is not.
Yeah,
and you can't keep up.
Yeah, I thought this would be a tighter game. Like, I thought this would be a 17-23 type of a game. But the fact that we was able to put up that much points against that defense, which has shown itself through the first half, so far, gotta be impressed by that. If you're the Ravens. So, but Denver will come back to earth, I think. I don't expect a run out of them. And then you got to look at who they played. Like, I don't think people realized, and I think you could say the same thing for the Chargers, even though their defense is, right up there with Pittsburgh and Denver.
Yeah.
They played the Raiders, they played the Panthers, they played the Saints, I believe. I think both of those teams have played those teams early on, and we know those teams are not very good. So, we'll see how those teams finish out. But I'm pretty impressed by what I saw from the Ravens. So, but there was some other moves that was made today. Let's stick with the Saints. I know you said you wanted to talk Saints.
Well, look, man, we won't harp on it, but let's get to the Saints. It's a little bit of a soap opera. So
yes, it is.
Obviously, they lose to the Carolina Panthers, and they say I have had enough. I have had enough of Dennis Allen. Losing to the Carolina Panthers is absolutely. We can't take that. We can't.
Fireable offense. Yeah,
it's a fireable offense. I don't know that it's a fireable offense, me personally, but I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Worst team in the league, man. Yeah, it's a
but why?
And you losing 7 in a row. Like
okay. I don't disagree with the 7 in a row thing. I don't disagree with, because this team is a good roster. They're not playing good football. But
they've had some injuries along the way.
Sure. But this is a good roster that shouldn't have lost 7 in a row.
Yep.
And to cap it off with a loss to the Carolina Panthers. I totally understand.
And I was about to tweet after all those games on Sunday. And I was about to say, man, I feel like somebody's gonna get fired Monday or Tuesday. I feel like somebody's gonna get fired, whether it was Jacksonville, the Saints, Dallas, maybe.
Dallas ain't getting there. They ain't gonna fire.
Right. Yeah, nah. I felt somebody was gonna lose their job this week, and turns out I was right. So
yeah. And in case, this is for the Cowboys fans out there, in case you didn't know, your season's done. Ain't no need to talk about it. Ain't no need to just don't talk to me.
Jonathan Mingo ain't gonna make it any better.
Yeah, don't talk to me about nothing or anything. Get well, CeeDee Lamb, get well, Dak Prescott. But it's over. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Yeah.
It's a wrap.
I don't even want to hear about them no more, bro.
I feel like we should not have to hear about them anymore this year about anything.
I don't want to hear about Jerry Jones's weekly interviews on radio. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear them.
I agree. But getting back to the Saints, though, they lose to the Carolina Panthers, and a lot of the I guess B stories to them losing that game to the Panthers, outside of Dennis Allen getting fired, is the controversial injury to Chris Olave, his second concussion this year. But a lot of the conversation is about Derek Carr leading him into that concussion.
Yeah.
Did you see the play?
I saw the play. And prayers to Chris Olave, and that he gets well, because he did. I think they took him to the hospital and they ran tests and everything seems to be fine, but certainly get well soon there.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting piece of that afternoon during that game was the tweets from former Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Thomas, is he on a roster somewhere?
No.
He's not on a roster. Okay.
No.
That's interesting, because he was one of them dudes, for about a 2-3 year stretch.
All pro, two-time All Pro first team.
Right. So for me, that seems surprising that he's not on a roster, but he's also had some injuries. I think there was a situation where he sat out, or they misdiagnosed an injury of his, and he ended up missing the entire year. So there's a lot of backstory to that part of it. But to get to the entertaining part, so he's tweeting during this game, and he's talking shit about Derek Carr and how he's throwing to receivers and is getting the receivers killed in the process.
That's what I really wanted to get to before you got to the Michael Thomas tweets. Yeah. Did you feel like Derek Carr set up Chris Olave?
Yes.
And let's be clear.
I felt like he did.
Let's be clear. We know he didn't do it intentionally. To anybody,
it's not intentional.
We knew that was just a bad mistake by a decent quarterback. That was a mistake. I saw him on the I guess a post. It was either post game or the weekly press conference they do. And they asked him about the tweets, but aside from the tweets, they asked him about the throw, and he basically said that that's something we do often, and those types of things. But what irked me about his comments is that he never mentioned Yeah, maybe that is something that you do, and that's an option, and that's a read that you make often. But you threw it high. At no point did he say, I threw a bad ball. And that bothers me about Derek Carr. And I went to a 5-minute deep psychology of Derek Carr. Like, bruh, ain't this the same nigga that on the Raiders, the whole offensive line was like, we ain't about to block for this nigga no more, and got him killed against the Commanders, formerly the Redskins. Like, what is it? Look, two things could be true. Michael Thomas can be being a little over dramatic about what he's seeing and his experience with Derek Carr, but Derek Carr could also be a smug, and I'm not saying he is or ain't, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, watching him talk, it came off smug because at no point did he take accountability for throwing a high football. Because I don't give a damn how many times you make that read and throw that and use that as an option. You threw a bad ball that got your number one receiver put out the game. And I was sitting there wrestling with it. Like, do I feel a way about the throw? Do I feel a way about the play? And at first I wanted to say, no, it happens in the NFL. And yes, it does. It 100% does. But normally, a quarterback, when asked about a play like that, will say if he made a bad read, I made a bad read, or if I made a bad throw, I made a bad throw. But at no point did I hear him say I made a bad throw. Like I'm not super X and O guy, so I can't tell
I made a mistake, and I set up my receiver in a way that
I shouldn't have. But I know if you run that play all the times, that's fine. But I know you threw it high and got him cracked. Is some accountability on that Carolina Panthers defender? Absolutely. But for sure, that would have never been a thing if you didn't throw a bad ball. It would not have been a thing if you didn't throw a bad ball. I am irritated with Derek Carr right now. And I guess with everybody else being irritated with Derek Carr right now, I saw an interesting stat. In his 10-year career, he has lost to every single team in the NFL except for one. Obviously, we know who that team is. And
the Raiders.
And if I'm not mistaken, they played the Raiders next. I'm not 100% sure on that fact, but they played the Raiders next. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for hoping that the Raiders win?
No. However, I will say I don't feel like that's an impressive stat for a quarterback that's played in the league, for as long.
Well, how long? I knew you was going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. Brett Favre. But it didn't happen for him until 16, 17 years down the line. I don't remember the whole extent of his career, how long he was in the league, but I know it didn't happen until he played for the Minnesota Vikings.
Correct.
Right. So this dude has done a lot of losing, and not because he played. Look, don't get it twisted. 10 years is a long time to be in the league,
right? And some of it ain't his fault because the Raiders were bad before he got there. Let's be honest. The Raiders, they were bad before he got there, so it's not just him.
You threw that bad ball and didn't take accountability. So right this second, in the midst of emotional half-quarter rage, I'm blaming it on Derek Carr, and I hope you lose to the Las Vegas Raiders if emphatically you played them. And off with all your hopes of having a productive season. Take accountability for getting your number one receiver hurt, bro. Take accountability.
His 11th year in the league, so yes, it's shorter than a Brett Favre.
By 6-7 years.
By 6-7 years. So yes, I guess I'd have to figure out who else is, had 11 years in the league. And
I forgot to look it up. But let's be clear, there aren't. This is Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast Room Banter. I am almost certain that there aren't 7 quarterbacks that has lost to every NFL team. I am almost certain of it.
That there's not 7.
Right, that has lost to in their career, lost to every single NFL team.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's some good research for sure.
I'm never going to research. That's That's why I'm not a journalist or a sport.
I mean, you don't have to be a journalist to do research.
Hey, I don't even care. I prefer to just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. That's the type of dude I
got
am.
you. No, I got you.
And now I would challenge listeners to go ahead and prove me wrong if I'm emphatically wrong. But and if y'all on it like that, if there are more than 7, tell me how long it took them to lose to all 32 teams. Because I feel, in my opinion, I feel like 10 years is a short time.
Yeah.
In comparison to one of the greatest quarterbacks, even though Brett Favre is a trash human being, he was one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. Yeah. So it took him 16 years to lose to every single team.
Yeah,
maybe 16. I don't, like I said, I don't remember. I don't know the numbers, but you know what I'm saying. Shout out to that piece of trash, Brett Favre. Them people need their money.
I'm not giving them a shout out.
Hey, them people, they need their money back, boy.
I'm not giving them a shout out.
They need their money back.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this list of trades, the list of trades before the deadline today. Yeah. I think we've covered the important stuff. I think the one thing, maybe the most under the radar one, Khalil Herbert getting traded from Chicago, I think, to the Bengals.
Yeah, but they also traded. They also gave up Zach Moss, if I'm not mistaken, to get.
Did they really?
Herbert. Yeah, I believe they gave up Zach Moss. Huh. So that's why I didn't put so much stock into that, because Khalil Herbert by himself, I'm not saying he's not a good back, but you know, and I guess maybe they got more stock in Chase Brown than they do in Zach Moss, and I can accept that. But I feel like Khalil Herbert to give up a 7th and Zach Moss, that's a lot. Now you can fact check me on that, but I feel like that's a lot, and I don't feel like Khalil Herbert is going to change. Yeah,
I didn't think Zach Moss was in that deal, because to me that to have Herbert and Moss in your backfield, that's not a bad backfield to have.
But to my understanding, and I haven't watched a bunch of Bengals this year, Chase Brown has been better than Zach Moss.
Yeah, he had a great game against.
To my understanding,
yeah. Well, that's the first time I've heard his name all season was last week. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what his other games is like, but he definitely had a good one. So I'm trying to think. Oh, I just got one more thing. We were kind of talking about drama early on into the show. We missed the Jason Kelce stuff. Did you happen to see that?
I didn't even know what it was. And by the way, did they fine Bosa yet for wearing that MAGA hat after the game?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything.
That is crazy, dogs.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
For that team, yes, that's wild. Like, I didn't even see what it said.
It said MAGA.
No, I'm saying when you first saw it, because I guess they were doing post-game interviews.
Yeah.
He jumps into the shot. He points to the hat. So the hat is white, and the letters was like yellow, so you really couldn't see what it read at first. And then I think somebody in the media confirmed it, and then he gets to the podium and he don't want to talk about it. And it's like, bro, how you gonna jump in the shot? You jumping in your teammate's shot of a post-game interview, toting your hat and all this, and then now when niggas question you about it, I don't want to talk about it. I ain't, like, crazy. Come on, bro. Like, that's whack, man.
I hope that means somebody checked him on it and he was in his feelings about it, because look,
that's whack.
Because look,
I'd have kept asking him about it. If I'm other media members
who you
want to
vote for, but you want to stand on. You want to stand on what you stand on. That's my thing.
Right. Yeah, that was whack, man. Like, and for the media to not, pepper him with more questions related to that, what was kind of telling to me.
Yeah. Look, we don't got enough time.
I know, I get it. I know. I'm opening up a can of worms. I get it.
Yeah, we don't got enough time. Because again, but let me be clear. But let me clear about why he should be fined. It's not because about how I feel about Donald Trump or any of that. It is simply because he can make his political stance, but Kaepernick lost his career behind it. Yeah. And I'm saying, hey, bro, that just don't make sense to me. It just don't make sense to me. And
yeah,
look,
I don't like that.
And I don't necessarily agree with everything Colin Kaepernick's saying. Like now, all of a sudden, I heard him say the other day, or somebody report that he said the other day that he don't support the NFL. My nigga, my guy,
my man was trying to get work.
Yeah,
with the NFL.
like my G. Respectfully,
my man was trying to get work.
Respectfully, my G. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that, bro.
Yeah, nah. He definitely, because look, folks, I've heard people this year still talking about, hey, Kaepernick's still available, just to kind of make a point.
Yeah,
like,
bro, we ain't got to do that. We ain't got to do that, bro.
Yeah,
we ain't got to do that.
We ain't got to do that for real. But yeah, man, some good stuff, man. Oh, the Kelsey stuff, quickly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you good. The Kelsey stuff. So it was caught on camera. I think he was on Penn State's campus, and one of the kids was like, yo, your brother a faggot for dating Taylor Swift. Or I'm paraphrasing it, but we called his brother a faggot.
Hey, bro. Never mind. It's the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. Hey, I'm sorry.
I know.
I apologize. If you catch flack, then I'm just. I try.
I know. I won't say it again. I won't say it again.
Man.
He called them something derogatory. Jason Kelsey.
They called it the S word.
And so we took the man phone and he smashed the phone. And I think he, because he does Monday Night Football, and I guess they made him talk about it in the opening, which I thought was kind of a weird place to have him talk
about smashing Slim phone.
Yeah, they made him not talk about the what happened, but just basically saying, yeah, this wasn't, it wasn't the right, everybody saw what happened. I guess his words was, I responded to hate with hate, and that's not productive. That was his words. But he really didn't apologize. And quite frankly, I didn't feel like he had to apologize because homie was, talking sideways to him. So that's that.
Man,
with that situation,
I wish we had more time because that is an interesting conversation that I don't have time. We don't have time to get.
Yeah, into. we definitely got to wrap this up. But that's kind of what happened there, and he he addressed it. And honestly, my take is he doesn't need to apologize. Nobody got hurt. Just the phone got smashed. But you can't be calling nobody that word. You can't be calling nobody that. So.
But also you can't be destroying people's property neither, though. But
that is true too.
I digress.
That is true too. I'm with you on that. All right, man. Picks for week number 10. Thursday night's matchup: Bengals and Baltimore to take on the Ravens. You know where I'm at. Give me the Ravens.
Give me the Bengals. I need the North to get a little bit more interesting.
Well, that's not making it interesting. What's making it interesting is if we go into Pittsburgh tied with 7 wins. That's what makes it interesting.
Nah, I don't want to be tied with 7 wins. I want y'all. I don't want y'all at number 1. I don't want y'all close to it. I don't want y'all
right there. We're gonna be right there, B. All right. Sunday. The Giants at the Panthers. I'll take the Giants.
Give me the Giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrone Tracy in that defense.
Yeah. And this is the international game too. So
yeah.
Patriots in Chicago taking on the Bears.
Yeah, give me the Bears.
I will take surprisingly the Patriots. I think the Commanders broke this Bears team with that Hail Mary, bro. And just a side note, kind of like Pittsburgh has all the division games the second half of the season, the Bears still haven't played a division game yet.
Yeah, I noticed.
The North that division is the toughest.
Yeah.
All the teams was at one point above 500. So they got 6 games against their division, plus the 49ers is in there. And I forget who the other team is. It might be Seattle or it just played Arizona. But I think Seattle is the other team there. So
who did Arizona just beat?
The Bears.
Okay, yeah, okay. I got you.
The Bears. So the Bears are looking like that the season's going to get away from them based on the schedule.
Okay. I don't disagree.
Buffalo taking on the Colts in Indianapolis. Give me the Bills.
Buffalo. Yeah.
Broncos in Kansas City. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Falcons in New Orleans taking on the Saints. I will take the Falcons.
I will take the Falcons.
We got the Niners in Tampa taking on the Bucks, who just lost a tough one last night. I will take in an upset special. I will take the Buccaneers.
I will take the opposite.
All right.
Christian McCaffrey might be coming back, by the way.
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
I might have to switch that pick, but no, I'm not. I'm gonna stick with the Bucks. Pittsburgh at the Commanders. I know where you're going with it. Sad to say, I think. Nah, screw that, man. Give me the Commanders, bro. Give me the Washington Commanders. I don't know when the last time the Washington football team beat the Steelers, but
they just beat us the last time they played us. The last time when we was 11-0. No. We was 11. Was that Alex Smith?
I think that was Alex Smith.
I don't remember who was at quarterback. I remember Chase. I remember that. I remember it was Chase Young's rookie year.
Yes,
we were 11-0. And that defense had a time with us that game.
That's right. That's right.
That's
right. What's going to happen the second time? Give me the Commanders. I'll take the Commanders on Sunday.
Hey, Commanders fans. Respectfully. Cause some of y'all my niggas. But right now, yeah, it's that. All right, go ahead. My fault. I'm sorry.
Vikings in Jacksonville. I will take Minnesota.
Give me Minnesota, yeah.
Titans at the Chargers. I will take the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers.
Eagles at Dallas. I will take the Eagles.
Yeah, Dallas is done. I don't know we said it, but put them in the coffin, throw some more dirt on it.
Yep. Interesting one on Sunday. Jets at the Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
I will take the Jets on the road because they need it. They have to have it.
Yeah.
Lions at the Texans Sunday Night Football.
That's a good one.
That's a great one. It's going to be a great one.
I'm going to take the Lions, though.
I will take the Texans, and I don't know if it's an upset. I know Detroit is favored, but they're not favored by much, 3.5. So give me the Texans. And then Monday Night Football, we got the Dolphins going to the Rams.
Give me the Dolphins. I think they're gonna get this put back together at some point.
They need it. They definitely need it for sure.
The Dolphins,
need it for sure. I will take the Rams. I feel like this is that time.
And let's be clear, they lost by a field goal the other day, so it's not like
right to Buffalo.
Right.
Division game, but nonetheless, they was in there. They got Tua back. They got what they need back.
I just think it's going to take a little time to get it back rolling.
Right. And they need this one for sure if they're going to make a run. So, but I'm going to take the Rams because I think this is the time of year where they start to get it going. So, again, great show. Shout out to everybody in the chats, IG Live, Facebook Live, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Big shout out to Candi Waller for coming through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking Commanders and Steelers and that matchup. Continue to follow us, folks. On Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Maestro Styles, you can find him everywhere. Twitter, IG at Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir.
Questions, comments about the show, Barbershop Sports Talk 1 at gmail.com is the place to email us for questions, comments, and things like that. And we got the merch store. We got the link in the description of this episode. Check it out. Hoodies, hats, T-shirts, and all kinds of good stuff there. So, again, man, this is great. We at the halfway point of the season. Can't wait to finish it up. Looking forward to next week. We got a dope one. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there, folks. And as always, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh, yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.